Now to our breaking news involving an alleged plan to launch an attack on this Sunday's UFC event at the White House. Several people have been arrested, but authorities say they are still searching for more suspects. And joining us now is Paul Goldenberg, a national security expert who has previously been an advisor to the Secretary of Homeland Security. He is now a senior advisor to Dragonfly Drone Cardinal Point Strategies, and he is also the chief policy advisor at the University of Rutgers Miller Center on Policing and Community Resilience. Sir, clearly you have the experience. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this afternoon.
Glad to be here, Megan.
Thank you. And first, the FBI says this attack, thankfully, did not come close to completion. But with everything that you're seeing and reading about this, please give us your thoughts and reaction.
Megan, you know what? Well, we recognize the success. The FBI did a great job on this, by the way. We shouldn't miss the larger warning. The real story is not that the plot was stopped. The real story is that a drone-enabled terrorist attack against a very high-profile target, the White House in the United States here, was being planned in the first place. Look, for years, those of us in law enforcement, Homeland Security, and Intel have warned that these weaponized drones present one of the most significant emerging threats to public safety and national security. We've watched closely terrorist organizations abroad adapt commercial drone technology for surveillance, for weapons delivery and coordinated attacks. That's not new. We've recently watched across the Mexican border cartels use drones for the delivery of explosives and for counter surveillance. The concern for us is, and what most Americans probably didn't realize, is that if in fact, up until maybe 6 months ago, if in fact there were a swarm or even a half a dozen or even one drone moving across the sky and a chief of police or a police officer looked up and was concerned that that drone in fact was heading towards a target, there is not one thing a local, municipal, county, or state police official could have done to terminate its pathway. All they could have done is watched. And that's it. And the average American, and even many in policing themselves, didn't come to the realization that there was no legislation, there were no resources, there was no technology that was offered to them to terminate the pathway of a potentially disastrous drone heading towards a part of our infrastructure.
I mean, that is so scary to hear. And when we talk about drones, and you highlight some of the national stories that have highlighted drones in the hands of large criminal organizations, but anyone could have access to some of this technology. And you say there's nothing anyone could have done if they would have seen drones in action here. But what should law enforcement agencies and counterterrorism agencies, Paul, be doing to defend against drones and this technology?
Well, the first thing is the legislators need to be more supportive. The legislators, they have been advised over the past 2-3 years that there is no legislation in place to support state and local police in this regard. So they were not provided the tools, they weren't provided the training, and they sure weren't provided the technology. So we are way behind the 8 ball here. I will call it, I'm reluctant, but I'll call it a 9-10 moment. And the reason it's a 9-10 moment is that we know it's coming. In this case, we were lucky enough through the good efforts of the Bureau and others to stop it in its tracks. But you could go on Amazon or on any of the websites and make these purchases of drones and other materials and weaponize these drones very quickly. The problem is that we don't have the technology in the hands of state and local officers, or the training. Most important, the training. It's really not a technology problem. It's a preparedness problem. So many local police agencies, they can identify a hostile drone, but they lack the authority or the capability to stop it.
Right now, we have the World Cup, Paul, taking place. We have major events here in D.C. this summer planned to celebrate America's 250th. Large crowds anticipated here. When we're talking about security concerns with these high-profile events, and we're talking about preparedness of local organizations, training. What are you telling clients in light of today's high-tech world?
Look, we have to step up and enhance the training and provide the tools to state and local law enforcement. These technologies are very sophisticated, extremely sophisticated. The problem, again, is every time we catch up with the technology within the hands of the adversaries changes as well. There is good news. The good news is that the NDAA legislation is now providing state and local law enforcement with the opportunity to train up and with the resources that they need. It's just rolling out as we speak. Local and state law enforcement is being trained to be able to counter these drones, but this is something that has to be it has to be expedited immediately. So when we talk about how do we protect from the sky, it's extremely difficult. But I will tell you, our federal law enforcement partners and those at the Bureau and working in other sections of government, they are ramping up these technologies. They are ramping up the training. And I know that it has become, in fact, a priority for our federal partners as well.
National security expert Paul Goldenberg. Paul, thank you so much for joining us to share your thoughts on this ever-evolving and very serious topic that affects safety for so many.
Thank you for having me, Megan.
All right, take care.